got the number one prospect in that system. What more
Yeah.
could you ask for?
Not much.
The other two, they got screwed.
With Rizzo, he's interestingly on his fourth manager as well. How many GMs have the luxury of firing three managers without getting fired themselves?
Not many.
That's crazy.
And on top of that, it's like they keep bringing in worse ones.
Right.
They don't get better.
Another name pipe dream type situation, Starlin Castro. Do you think the Red Sox attempt it?
They're not moving him. They would have moved him already.
No.
Well,
Same thing with Real Muto.
He's cleared waivers, so they at least put him through that. But
yeah,
it's just kind of we want to look to see what we can get, and nobody's going to blow their socks off at this point in the year.
So I'll tell you why, because they want to see what they can get, because as soon as the season ends, they will trade him, because then he'd be in the last year of his contract, and it's a club option, so they could pick it up and trade him and not have to worry about it. I think that's what they're doing. It is a pipe dream. It's been my pipe dream all season, because he's been top 10, top 5 in hits all year. He can do it against good pitching. He's not afraid of the bright lights.
Former shortstop, so he does it defensively.
Yep. Derek Jeter is just such a motherfucker, and he will not. I just don't see him negotiating with the Red Sox, being like, oh, like you're one glaring hole on offense. Oh yeah, there you go. Like I just don't see that happening.
That's true.
Unless he's like, yeah, take him for. I want Chavez and Groom, and you're just like, okay, you're high.
Yeah, get out of here.
And I've wondered that all along. I mean, we didn't get Ziegler, and we could have had him for nothing. We weren't apparently in the Stanton sweepstakes at all. And I know he had a no trade and could ultimately dictate that himself, but part of me wonders if Jeter said, hey, just stay away from the Red Sox if you would.
Yeah.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
yeah.
And why wouldn't he? I mean, he knew the Yankees. He knew Giancarlo's a classic Yankee. Contract, just the stardom, the draw. He's classic. And
he puts asses in seats.
Exactly. And he didn't care about the return with him. The return with him was great. He got a very serviceable player on a good deal that he is going to flip at another point. So, in Castro. And he just cleared the money. It was a straight-up salary dump. They took a little bit of money from Castro, and they're going to get, don't worry, they'll get something for Castro too. So you're going to look at that trade, and you go look back at the flow chart of that, and it's going to look real good for Miami.
I'm just surprised they didn't try it, before July 30th. When
I'm sure they had some phone calls, right? But I don't think it was. I'm sure teams called, and I'm sure they said, "This is what we want," and I'm sure they said, "You're out of your mind, Derek Jeter," and hung up the phone. But now teams get desperate, right? You look at a team like, I don't know, Pittsburgh that bought at the deadline, or you look at a team like the Phillies, who are all of a sudden sixth place in the wild card and second place in the division by 3 or 4 games. You look at teams like that are like, oh shit. You look at, the Cubs or Cardinals. The Cubs went and got Daniel Murphy, but to bring Starlin Castro was a Cub, right, for a while, and to bring him back, how much would it cost you? I think teams get this desperate and they threw him out there for, if someone wants to offer an incredible deal that they can't turn down, sure. But I think it's more feeling it out and then weighing their options for the offseason.
Real quick, right before we get to the preview, a guy that I love and I hope, he's coming off Tommy John, I just hope that he has a job either by the start of next year or by the end of this year is Trevor Rosenthal. I think he's worth a look, if nothing else. If we really, really, really think that we need something in the bullpen, or anybody needs something in the bullpen.
Didn't he just do a showcase?
It'd be great for us when we lose Kimbrel.
Didn't he just do a showcase? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting name.
He's just one of those that's had really good years in the past, and one Tommy John can kind of derail your career for a while.
Well, look at Holland. I mean, he came back 2 years ago and was pretty serviceable last year with the Rockies, and just kind of fell off the face of the earth this year. He came back and he was heavy, he was fat, I thought, and I never expected that out of him this season, but yeah. Anyway, let's. Why don't we get to the previews here? Oh no, here it is. against the White Sox, and we were kind of talking before we started recording how that looks like a much tougher series than most people realize. So starting tomorrow night, we have Porcello versus Giolito, and Giolito was in the Adam Eaton deal.
Yep. Yeah. Him and Ronaldo Lopez.
Yeah, and kind of scuffled a little bit. His ERA for the year just under 6, and he's pitching to a 4.5 over his last 3. So Red Sox tend to struggle sometimes against these young guys that they haven't seen before. So I don't know. Hopefully they can put up some runs early on, especially with this bullpen. How's Porcello going to look against this young lineup? Because they can definitely hit.
Yeah, their strength is hitting for sure, not pitching yet. But I think Porcello's going to be fine. He shouldn't have been in that game against Cleveland, and he had a bad start against Tampa, which was very close to being a decent start. So I think he's going to be fine. I don't see him struggling. I think we take this game honestly. I think Giolito's not going to do that great. They have 4 pitchers going this week, and I only see 2 of them that are really threats at the moment, which would be Kopech and Rondon. So I think we take this game fine. I think it's more interesting for our pitching because we have the legitimate B team out there. We have Porcello, who's our 3-starter, Eovaldi, who's a back end, Johnson's a back end, and Erod's coming back off injury. So it's interesting.
Well, let's put out a PSA right now. This is not going to be an easy series.
No. It'll be a split at best.
Yeah, because
right?
we just watched this team pretty much handle the Yankees for, 3 games in a row, aside from one Neil Walker at bat?
Yep. Yeah, they were 1 at bat away from sweeping that series?
From sweeping.
Or taking 2 out of 3?
Yeah, from sweeping.
Yeah, sweeping. So there you go.
Yeah, and they took 2 out of 3 against us earlier this year, which I had
We struggle with Central teams. It's kind of weird.
It is.
We do. Sale does as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Game 2, speaking of Sale, we're facing the guy that we sent over in the trade package for him, Michael Kopech, who is pitching to a 1.13 ERA. How many starts does he have?
1 1/4.
Because one and another one got delayed.
Rain delay.
His debut, he pitched 2 innings. He pitched great, but it got delayed. And then his second one was 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, no walks and 4 strikeouts. He's yet to walk a guy in the major leagues.
Which is crazy because that's all he did.
That was the glaring issue when he was here.
Yeah.
And in the minors, too. Like, he walked a lot of guys in the minors this year, and he had a rough start to the year. A tough game for us. I think because of the revenge factor / he's a very confident kid, and we have Eovaldi, who you don't know what you're getting out of him. I would probably give them that game, to be honest. I think the most interesting game is the next game, if I had to get, if I said so.
It's all going to depend on how much bite his fastball has on it. Like, if it's moving, there's no chance. If
it's moving, we're in trouble. If it's flat, we're going to tee off.
Because 101 going in turns into 111 going out, basically.
Yeah.
But, if his fastball is moving, I would even say 98, and has the 2-inch break that it has when he's being dominant, then the Sox have almost no chance.
Right. And with Eovaldi, like you guys were saying earlier, him and Pedro kind of had a bit of a powwow and tried to fix his mechanics a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what might come out of that. I know Levangie was able to kind of fix Thornburg for a little while before he kind of went back.
Levangie also kind of fixed Sale, if you think about it. Not at the All-Star break, but at some point in the season, they kind of closed off his delivery a little bit, and he's been dominant up until the injury.
Right. Yeah. That's absolutely. So we'll be watching for that, and if hopefully the Red Sox can just make contact against him. We're coming off of a hot game against Tampa where I think everybody contributed in that 11-run 7th inning. So hopefully that's the spark that we're looking for that can kind of help us put up a lot of runs this series.
Who's game 3? Big game, James?
No, it's Erod with his first game back versus Rondon.
Ooh.
Rondon's been their best pitcher pretty much all year, and Erod was our number 2/3.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're going to get.
And we have no idea what's going on. So we're facing a really good pitcher, young pitcher like Terry said, that we struggle with, and we're getting a straight-up question mark in Erod. Will he go 4 innings, giving up no runs? Will he go 7 innings, giving up 1? Will he go 3 innings, giving up 4? We have no idea.
Shout out to the White Sox organization, by the way. I mean, this is 4 straight pitchers that they've either gotten off trades or basically had his entire career. I'm pretty excited about that. It's nice to see a GM do his job correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, there was a lot of drama a couple of years ago with them, but with Erod, though, if he just, regardless of what the offense does to give him run support, I mean, if he goes at least 6 innings, only gives up 3 runs, I'm pretty happy.
If he
with
goes
that.
6 innings, I'm throwing a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I expect 5 innings, 2 or 3.
5 innings, 109 pitches.
I don't think Sale. I don't think Corlett's gonna get to 109 this time. I think around 90 he comes out, just because it's his first start back.
Well,
They might Brian Johnson him, honestly. They might take him out if we
It
have a
wouldn't
lead.
surprise me.
If we have a lead, if we're up 4-0 in the 4th inning, he's at 75, 80 pitches. He's coming out, and I'm not upset about it. I'm really not,
well,
because you know who's coming in.
the
Velasquez.
shitty bullpen's coming in is what's going to happen.
Velasquez is coming in, who's been solid minus that bad start he had the other day. But even tonight, Velasquez was good. Didn't know he was going to play. Came up, when Price got hurt, gave up 1 run. So, I mean, I would take that. If Velasquez did that again, went 4 innings or 3 innings, went from the 4th, the 5th to the 7th, or the 5th to the 8th, and gave up 1 run, I'd be pumped.
Well, if that's the case, I want to see some run support, but yeah, I don't know. That's definitely the most interesting game of that series, regardless. And,
For sure, and then you kind of have a shit show in Game 4, which is...
You leave big game James alone.
Yeah, James Shields a bum. Terry, I'm taking your job for this last one because I hate James Shields. So James Shields is a bum and has been since he left Tampa. And Brian Johnson, I mean, we're still waiting on that stinker. It could happen.
We thought it was going to be the last start.
Thought it was going to be the last start, but he settled down. You don't know. Johnson, I'm assuming, is going to go 5 innings, giving up 1 or 2 runs. Could go
in the first inning, probably.
Yeah, you don't know. Shields, I know, is going to suck, so I'm not worried about that. But this could be one of those 9-8 games or 8-7, like we saw in Miami, just against Miami.
It's terrible that we watch this team so much that we can basically predict their starts.
Yeah.
I like to call James Shields up in flames, James. That's
wow, I love that.
That's what he was with the Royals that postseason. Yeah,
I love James Shields because he won me a DraftKings moonshot one night. So
really?
It was very profitable.
How much
He's in my heart forever.
How much you win from that?
800.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow, yeah. I can see why you like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here we'll get into the MLB wide next, but is there a scenario where Brian Johnson makes a case that he should start Game 4?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's actually a case right now.
Okay.
There's a case he starts Game 4, or he is the Andrew Miller come in the 5th inning. He could be that guy.
Actually,
He's done it this year multiple times.
I don't like him out of the bullpen quite as much. I mean...
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's been at least a couple of times where he came out and I think there were runners on, so it wasn't a clean inning and just got...
For that game, I kind of want an opener. That way that he doesn't have to pitch the first inning, so we can kind of get through all those demons.
Yeah, if he comes out of the pen, it has to be a clean inning, because...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Joe Kelly syndrome.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. You can bring in even a Brazier in the 5th inning and have him clean up the inning, and then start BJ in the 6th, because his big issue is when the 3rd time in the lineup comes around, that's when he gets into trouble. He'll never see that, in the first couple times. And if teams are struggling with him, even if it's 2 innings a night, not even 3 or 4, but he could be that guy either way because he runs into issues, right? He could be the opener where you have him throw 4 innings, and then you throw Erod in there for 3 or 4 innings, and then all of a sudden you're in the 8th and 9th inning. So it's interesting.
I'd hate to make Tampa look good by stealing there.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing.
I was
What if
like-
we just take Kevin Cash's strategy for one game?
Exactly.
For one game, it makes sense. For every single game, I feel like